Never forget that Bill Clinton was depicted wearing a dress in Epstein's office. As there's some people that do want you to forget and move on, as of course we are still not getting the truth about Epstein, his associates, as there are a lot of very fast-moving parts with this saga that has brought individuals like Shawn Ryan over the edge. In his recent podcast episode, he interviewed Congressman Roy Khan, who has been playing a major vital role when it comes to releasing the Epstein documents, along with Congressman Thomas Massie. And the answers that they gave us were very interesting. All of this as Nick also particularly made some very interesting statements a couple days ago surrounding this that has created a lot of controversy. He is now clarifying his comments today and adding some important context. We're going to be going over that since we covered Nick's comments yesterday, and a lot more all here on this independent media broadcast. As of course, this story is creepy, and it only gets a lot more creepier the more we find out. If you appreciate these types of conversations, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us here on this brand new channel that is doing incredibly well. So happy to finally crack the case, and the case was our old YouTube channel with nearly 900,000 subscribers has a lot of blocks on it. Why? Because we never stopped talking about the Epstein stuff. Now we're talking about the Epstein stuff as well, as a lot of people are sharing a lot of meme videos like this right now, highlighting what's really happening with the Epstein files. Here they are. Look at them. Yep, the files are gone, but Dan's back, and yay! As some people are saying, releasing the Epstein files now could genuinely stop World War III. Some people are saying that's a stupid take here. Kim.com says, can somebody leak the Epstein files to Iran? It seems to be the only leverage Trump, quote, cares about. If Iran had the Epstein files, they would be at peace here. As of course, even according to the DOJ's own disclosures, talking to the judge, they have admitted that only less than 1% of the files are out there. 5.2 million files are still being held from the general public, and the government has now failed multiple times from releasing the documents, and it keeps failing deadlines that they are mandated by law to release. You're doing a redaction. If you're not redacting the victims, you're supposed to explain the redactions, and we're getting the entire testimony of Ghislaine Maxwell redacted. What in the world's going on here?
The DOJ revealed they were hiding over 5.2 million Epstein files.
Why?
They claimed it was an estimation error and that since there's 5.2 million files to be reviewed, 400 lawyers need to be hired. This comes as Pam Bondi did not legally release all the Epstein files as she was commanded to by federal judges.
And the general public that's been asking for them for a very long time, since they were on our desk, and they were not on our desk. Kyle Seraphin here sent out an old message from Dan Bongino, who previously, as the deputy FBI director in May of 2025, came out and said the FBI will soon release a video confirming Epstein absolutely took himself out. That video never manifested itself. It was never released. It never came out. The government released an edited version of a video showing an adjacent hallway that didn't even show the full staircase, only a small sliver of it to Epstein's hallway, to Epstein's room, as now we found out that multiple cameras, not just one, weren't working that day. And listen, a lot of people are like, yay, Bongino's going to be back. And I'm saying, hey, he owes us an explanation. So far, the only thing he's been doing is attacking individuals like Thomas Massie that have been fighting to release the documents. And I'm saying, you know, whatever happened, look, he told us he's going to give us the video. It's going to prove all of us wrong. That never happened. And then he did innuendo tweets, which really got under my skin, particularly because they gave a lot of people false hope and optimism. And granted, I fell for some of the false hope and optimism, hoping and caring that there was going to be some legitimate accountability and transparency here, finally done by the federal government, to hold very high-level criminal elements that have hurt children in unspeakable ways accountable for their egregious illegal actions that are still being continued to this day. And then he lied. That's just the truth of it, right? And listen, if you lie to me, why? Why'd you lie to me? Don't lie to me and then say I'm the problem. That's gaslighting. As Dan Bongino's like, I'm going to go to war with the Black Pillars. And again, I've been going against Dan a lot. And I think he deserves the criticism, and I think he deserves to just come out and explain to the American people what happened. He's not going to do that. He's going to retweet Cat Turd and then point the finger at everybody else for being blackpilled as he blackpilled them. Jake Shields came out saying, Dan Bongino spent years talking about Epstein. Now he is actively trying to protect those in them. He destroyed his reputation and became a laughingstock. He did this. How did this happen? Was he always a fraud? Is it for the money? Did they threaten or blackmail him? I don't know, but we deserve to know. As now, Shawn Ryan came out and kind of asked the question that everyone wants an answer to, and that specifically is why in the world are we protecting these predators out there? And this is what he had to say very concisely. And then we're going to play the full clip.
Why is the White House protecting pedophiles? Why is the White House protecting pedophiles? I just don't understand it, Ro. I can't fucking get it through my head why we would protect pedophiles.
Yeah, listen, that's a question that a lot of people have that, listen, we could only guess, right? And for the people out there who are making up all these type of excuses, all of these type of estimates of like, oh no, it's for the economy. No, it's not. There's far more egregious things happening right now that are absolutely worth talking about in its fullest context, and they're not being talked about at all. And to me,
file problem in this country, and nobody's doing.
Hold on one second before playing the rest of that clip. Just really quickly and shortly, we wanted to tell you about WeAreChange.shop. This is how we pay the bills around here, by producing really cool, excellent, amazing products that I use, that I like, that I think you guys could use and like too. Gary Brecka just said, vitamin D deficiency isn't rare, it's normal. And it's quietly weakening immune systems, moods, recovery. Sunlight is your fix that your body was built for. A lot of people now are living in places where there's not a lot of sunlight. Listen, and we're in the winter months. There's a Rona crazy viral situation happening, especially in the Northeast, where people are getting very little sun. And this is why I've been recommending people check out supplementing with vitamin D. I think it is absolutely crucial. I think it is absolutely important. And I think it is something that has helped out a lot of people. Test out your levels. I mean, I was shocked. My levels were low, even though I lived in Miami, even though I was in the sun a lot. So I started supplementing, and then my sleep score just went through the roof. And vitamin D has a lot of hidden components to it. It helps you also with teeth, your nervous system, your brain. I feel amazing on it, and I am so happy that I've been able to produce a good product, because there's a lot of bad vitamin D out there. Without K2, without healthy fats. Do your own homework and research. You add magnesium to it, and bam, you got a recipe for success here. Do your own research. WeAreChange.shop here. Now, let's play the full clip of Shawn Ryan saying what he just said in a more type of open way.
I got really fucking pissed off at the Democrat Party because the MAPS, the minor attracted persons shit, before Trump came into office, we talked about it all the time. Now, why are we protecting? Why is the White House why we would protect pedophiles? The other thing is, this country has the biggest fucking problem with sex exploitation and sex trafficking in the world. We can talk about fucking Venezuela and Mexico and Ukraine and Russia and fucking China and waste, fraud, and abuse and fucking liberals this and Democrats this and Republicans, and we have a pedophile problem. We have a fucking pedophile problem in this country, and nobody's doing anything about it in government except you and Thomas Massey. What the fuck is going on?
You know how I know this? Because
is everybody in government a fucking pedophile now? What the fuck is happening?
Probably. Listen, he got emotional there, right? And he's getting a lot of backlash for allegedly having TDS here. But that's how a lot of people feel, right? And you can't undermine people's feelings. I know people say facts before your emotions, but the facts also clearly do highlight a situation where the general public still does not know what's going on. And obviously, the worst type of consensus that a lot of people are garnering is that this was a high-level child trafficking type of operation that hurt children. There was also other women of age or people that were barely legal, but there was also children involved here. There was also a eugenics operation involved here. There was also a money laundering operation involved here. There was also multiple foreign governments involved here, including the British, the Saudi Arabian, and of course the Israeli one. There was involvement with Iran-Contra. There was involvement with CIA planes. And, out of all of this kind of assessment here, people need to understand that PR publicly, Donald Trump is kind of falling on the sword for the Clintons and for the intel agencies. I think there's a bigger connection here that we still don't know about between Epstein and Bill Clinton when it came to Iran-Contra, by the way, and how Emina, Arkansas was used as the major playground when Bill Clinton was the governor there to run all of the drugs into the United States. Now, that's just my own personal assertion there. Zoro Khan tweeted, Shawn Ryan grew visibly angry and emotional while discussing Epstein. He asked questions that no one has before. And Shawn Ryan kind of clarifies later on today, no one should be afraid to ask questions. I don't know why or when that became the normal in society. Ask questions. I appreciate the time and transparency, Ro. Release the Epstein files. Yes, immediately. Why? Because and people are making all these cockamamie excuses. Like, it's going to crush the economy. It's going to destroy our relationship with Saudi Arabia. Listen, those are made up hypothetical type of situations we don't know. And you're just excusing people who hurt children to be protected. And that to me is unexcusable. Now, Rohakhan kind of went on and gave this answer during the conversation that I think is important. But before playing that, I think it's pretty clear here that if the Epstein files come out, this is going to be another church commission style type of disclosure that's going to be major. If you remember, a couple decades ago, the Church Commission disclosed how the CIA was infiltrating all of the corporate media, had heart attack guns, was working on MK Ultra. I think this is the type of stuff that we're going to have exposed here if the Epstein files come out. And I'm saying it needs to come out, right? It needs to come out so we understand what our money is being used for. It's our money. Epstein was moving around billions of dollars. He was cooperating and working with multiple militaries, intelligence agencies, government officials, banks, kings, queens all around the world. It's an inner world of deprived, horrible behavior that probably is far worse than we could even imagine. And it probably wasn't just the hurting of small children, it was probably the taking out of small children as well. If we are going to be going along this kind of train of consciousness, of this kind of understanding of just how purely evil some of these people were. These guys are scumbags. These people were low down, dirty, horrible human beings, and they were walking in and out of the Bill Clinton White House. Epstein was in and out of the Bill Clinton White House. Bill Clinton just failed to testify. He faced contempt of Congress charges. He should be held accountable for it. Will he? Probably not.
I fucking voted for this shit. I voted to get these damn files released, and it's like a total 180 just happened.
Well, I don't know if you had the president on or the vice president on your show, but they
had both of them on.
They campaigned on this, right? And so when Massey and I originally did the bill, we thought, okay, Trump should be for this because he campaigned. He said, look, we're going to release the files. Here's the truth of the matter. No one cared about this issue since the 1990s. It's not like a Donald Trump thing. We didn't release the files under Biden. This thing was going on since the 2000s.
1990s, Bill Clinton was allowing Epstein into his White House ever since then.
In 1996, Maria launched a complaint with the FBI, and she was told, we're not going to do anything. By the way, you talk to some of the other survivors, they were told, don't talk to the New York police. Epstein is too connected. For 30 years, until some of the documents just came out because of Massey and my bill, Maria was called a liar by everyone in power and said, oh, she never filed a complaint with the FBI.
Yep, and we were telling you she did. And we were telling you a long time ago, we've been covering the story for a very long time. Since 1996, the FBI knew. Right? They knew more, but they ignored the victims. Victims were coming to them and be like, hey, this guy's hurting children. FBI is like, cool story, bro. Get out of here. The corporate media did the same thing. The corporate media interviewed these people, got their stories, made them come out, made them risk everything. And then they took the stories and then they said, yeah, we're just going to make sure that the story never makes the light of day.
So when Trump said he wants to release the files, he was right. When he said that the system is corrupt, protecting rich and powerful people, he was right. And we gave him the benefit of the doubt. Then Pam Bondi comes and says, oh, there are no more files. I mean, come on. That's when Massey and I do this bill. And we initially thought maybe Trump would support it because his own attorney general is betraying his promise.
Now, Trump has a way out of this, right? He could indict Clinton. He could just release all the files now.
And what has been disappointing is for the last 5-6 months, have had to fight the administration at every step of the way, which gets me to believe, like, who is protecting these people?
That's the question that I think a lot of us need to ask here. And again, right now, perfect opportunity for Donald Trump just to come out and to say, listen, Clinton didn't testify. We're going to charge Clinton. Even if that case doesn't work, right? Even let's just say a Democratic jury or a Democratic judge just doesn't allow, just the fact that you did press charges, right, means a lot. And then you release the documents, you're able to save face here, right? And that's a strategy that I think works here. Now, Nick got a lot of criticism yesterday since he came out. He was like, it's not children. It's barely legal. It was children. And he was wrong. And we said, hey, I don't think he's right here. I think he's wrong here. He came out and clarified today, firing back, because other people decided to label him someone that was enabling this stuff. He came out and he made this argument.
What I said and the point that I'm making about Epstein, people are getting caught up in the sensationalism of pedophile. And I said this last...
Because that's what this is, right? And that's pretty horrible. Not just sensationalistic, it's true. And it's evil, and it's deprived, horrible behavior that the government allowed. That's why the story is as big as it is, because people are like, wait. We're allowing this?
Last year, when the story broke, I said the exact same thing. I said, yes, they are sex crimes. Obviously, it is human trafficking. Obviously, according to the law, it is statutory rape. But it is in the service of a blackmail ring for intelligence. It is important not to lose sight of that.
I don't think anyone's losing sight of that. I think everyone knows that, right? And as well as the billions of dollars that have been moved here, as well as the airplanes, as well as the connections to Iran-Contra, to Jamal Khashoggi, to the Clintons. So I just don't find that argument valid.
And this is a category error. People say you're a pedo protector. But Trump is not protecting pedophiles because they're pedophiles. He's protecting sex criminals because they are a part of a subversive intelligence network.
And if they are subverting him, and the intelligence agencies have been subverting Trump. Trump has a way to deal with the people who are trying to subvert him, put him in jail, and in my opinion, also trying to take his life. Now, I know it's a very delicate situation, and who knows what's really happening behind the scenes. We can only guess. But, yeah. Trump has a way of getting back at these deep state operatives that ruin our government and way of life, that subvert the will of the American people. Why? Because they have blackmail and compromise in everybody. That's why people are saying, please release the files. That's why I was so excited when they were promised to be released.
That's the point. And I said that in July, and I said that when there was more...
But his comments were pretty clear. They're like, no children. Barely. I mean, there were children.
Urgency for the files to be released in the fall. I said, let's not get too hung up on the sensational details of the actual sex crime, because this is not just about somebody was trafficking girls somewhere. That's not the story. The story is someone was trafficking girls to acquire blackmail to sell to Israel. That is the point. And that is what I said last night. I said, for someone to make it all about pedophilia, I said, it's kind of just like, it's not really true, because again, it does get away from what's happening there.
I don't think so. I think that's a part of the story that is the most kind of daunting. Right? Knowing that your tax dollars paid and facilitated the hurting of small children. That's why Shawn Ryan is so passionate about it, because Shawn Ryan's like, hey, there's predators out there. We could stop them. They're still out there. They're still probably hurting children. And a lot of this is a sickness, it's a disease that lives in their brain that they need to be held accountable for, or else they're always going to be acting on their very sick volitions.
It is not satanic pedophilia cult stuff.
It is. There's a lot of that, and there's a lot of weird connections. And granted, some people take it too far, but why won't you want to even get there? Like, it's evil. It's evil. You're telling me, there's not a satanic evil connection here. And some people extrapolate, and I get it. Some people go a little bit too crazy. But I believe it is an important component that we could still talk about and theorize logically without being told, no, you only need to focus about this aspect of the story. No, all the aspects of the stories matter. And because the government's not giving us any kind of answers here, we're left with putting the pieces together. Again, we're the ones that broke the spirit cooking story, right? You don't know about that one? Look that one up. So again, respectfully disagree. I think the story is far more bigger, far more evil, far more crazier than people could even imagine. Thomas Massey's talking about, maybe some of this like aggressive military action is a way to distract us. I don't know. Amber Woods says the Epstein files are now 26 days overdue. They're still denying survivors the transparency they waited for decades. And we're left with being pinpointed as being the black pillars when it's like, what else do you want us to do? Like, it's a sad situation, and I pray and hope that there will be justice and accountability here, done right, lawfully, legally, through the system in a way where we could actually have faith and restored trust in the system, right? You want that? The system has to hold the system accountable, and the system is rotten and dirty here, and it needs to be cleaned. And it needs to be held accountable for their egregious previous actions. If you agree, share this video. Thank you so much for supporting us at wearechange.shop. I want to be here for those of you guys doing that. Best vitamin D in the game. Get it. Support us. Support yourself. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/LukeRadowski76.